and I know you've got your topics as well, want to get into, but first off, what is the state of the union right now? What does Trump need to do tonight versus what do you predict he does?
Well, I think the state of the union is very bad right now. When you look at what was promised in 2024, it was supposed to be a golden age, no new wars, close the border, all this sort of stuff. And I think everybody realizes at this point that that has not happened. And it doesn't even seem that the administration is trying very hard. And what's sad about it is it seems that the administration doesn't even know where to go after this. As you said, it is an objective fact. It's not subjective opinion. It's not black pilling. The administration has its lowest approval since Trump got back into office. I think it's down to 39%. That's one of the lowest numbers we've had since the first term. And you see that the administration seems to not really know how to bounce back. And we talked about it shortly after the off-year election back in November. Trump administration is totally fumbling from one thing after the next, flopping around with the Epstein files. Then you had the Marjorie Taylor Greene leaving Congress. Now you have this post about Rob Reiner, who was brutally murdered at his home in Hollywood. And these are all things that not only are they not winning back the whole country, let's say like the middle or the coalition that propelled Trump into office in 24, but it's even losing Trump's most virile supporters, his biggest and loudest supporters, people like Marjorie Greene. Why is she not on the team? People that.
So yeah, Trump lately has not been doing good. It seems as though he's determined to lose some self-support in the midterms. But let's hear what Nick has to say about this.
Wanted transparency on Epstein files. Why are they not on the coalition? And, you know, stuff like that post on True Social. I don't know anybody that likes that. I don't know anybody that thinks that's acceptable. So
well, let's be clear.
The
administration, we love Trump attacking powerful globalists like Hillary, saying he'll be in prison. But it's an obvious no-brainer. I put a video out saying I was sad he was dead, because I genuinely was, even though I didn't like Rob Reiner and he'd gotten me deplatformed and celebrated it and been involved with Brennan doing it. I said he was still a talented guy. I'm sorry he's dead. But even from a cynical view, say something nice about a man and woman brutally murdered by their son. Like, it's the dumbest move. So you have to ask about a 79-year-old Trump. I don't think it's dementia. I don't think he's, you know, but regardless, he's making very bad decisions. I mean, that is just as a microcosm. What a crazy PR decision.
Well, he's floundering. He's floundering. And I think, like we talked about last time, sadly, it seems like he has fully engaged the old playbook, which is that he's in trouble. He knows he's in trouble. The approval ratings are down. His base seems to be leaving him a little bit. And whenever that happens, he always doubles down on mean tweets, let's say, as a category. Not necessarily a mean post on Twitter, although that is how it is expressed and how it manifests. But he doubles down on cruelty, culture war, laying into his enemies, ranting on television. And that used to be a playbook that worked, I think, back in the first administration or even in that first election in 2016. But now it seems like he sort of lost his touch. It's kind of tone deaf. Whereas at one time he was bringing that fight against, like you said, the globalists, somebody like Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama. Who's he attacking now? Now it's anybody that wanted Epstein files. Now it's Marjorie Greene, who is one of his people, who is like one of the first MAGA congressmen that rode that wave.
She made
after
that
his
point
original.
Yesterday. It's on record. She's right. He has all these Republicans in that vote against him, but they kiss his ass. And then she votes 98% of the time with him, but warns him, and then he turns on her and calls her a traitor. That is so stupid, and it hurt him bad in the polls. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking in regards to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was one of his most fervent supporters, and now, just like that, you have a disagreement, and then the boss turns on you. I don't get it.
Exactly, and that's what's sad is you have these policy failures, and I agree with you in many ways. It's a long 4 years. A lot of this stuff is complicated. Trump is trying, and you're right. It's not all bad. There are some things that are good that are going on. And I think that people might have patience for him to follow through. But the problem is he's reacting badly to the poll numbers, and it's making everything worse. It's compounding the failure. So you have a first year, which is pretty lackluster and disappointing. People get upset. In order to make people happy, he starts lashing out wildly, floundering with really no strategy. And if there is, not a very good one. And now people are accelerating their exit from the party. And so the question is, does Trump have the power inside of himself to make himself new again? Can he renew? Can he get on a solid footing? Or is this just going to be like a miserable,
You're absolutely
long
right.
decline?
It's like he was good the first 6 months, and during the campaign last year and a half, he was really good at not being the reactionary, manipulated Trump. Now he's worse than ever. Jimmy Kimmel had no viewers. He talks about him, boosts his ratings, empowers him. What is Susie Wiles doing giving corporate media interviews to Vanity Fair? It's like they just don't get it. And so the old Trump that had problems but woke up, got better, now it's back to the old Trump, but worse.
Yes, and that was...
Yeah, see, I mean, it's just boomer mentality. Despite the fact of all Trump's wins and successes in the past, 12 years that he's been on the stage since 2015, he's had a lot of wins, but, you know, he's old, and the people around him are old, and they don't understand the new Gen Z and millennial, generation. And it seems as though they're losing their grasp on their base, or at least the younger people, or younger generation who would be, supporters are moving more towards, quite frankly, America first. Not MAGA, not make America great again, but America first. And that's where the policy direction really needs to go if Trump wants to get these voters and maintain his hold through the midterms and throughout the rest of his presidency.
A big part of my prediction last year is I said he just hasn't learned his lesson, because the first administration, let's be honest, it's not what anybody really wanted. He didn't really deliver the victory. And what I wanted to see in 24 is, okay, you've had a go at it. You've been there for 4 years. You made your connections. Are you now going to be able to go in and govern better, govern effectively? And I remember during the campaign, I saw a lot of things that suggested, no, it's the same old Trump. And actually, maybe he's probably worse. So it has been a big disappointment. And I think it's even more disappointing because there's such a mandate. There's such an opportunity right now. And you hate to speak about it in these ways, but Charlie Kirk being assassinated, that was actually a political opportunity to get things done, to tackle the left, which is trying to kill and persecute our side. And so to not only not deliver on this historic mandate when you win the election, but also then to pass up opportunities. And again, you hate to speak about it in those terms, but this is politics,
Let me give you an example. Like 6, 7 days after, they bring up Charlie. I know people behind the scenes said Trump was very upset, all of this. And they go to Trump, they say, what about Charlie? And he goes, oh, never mind, look at the ballroom. And it was just like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, it's true. We are under attack. The left's saying kill us. He should make a bigger issue out of that. Exactly. He suddenly went from making a lot better moves during the campaign in the first 3 or 4 months to running out Elon, doing all this. Susie Wiles attacking Elon. Oh, he's a ketamine head. I mean, it's bad.
It is bad. And it seems like that whole approach just failed, because I like the Doge approach. I like the Elon Musk approach. I liked how they talked about operating, which is we're going to move quickly.
He had the highest ratings ever during that, and that's made the Republican establishment scared, and somehow they manipulated him to kick him out.
Yeah, one of the greatest fumbles of all time on the Trump's second term was getting rid of Doge and Elon. What the hell was that? He was your biggest advocate. He was the biggest tool in your arsenal, and you had a disagreement with the man, and then your relationship goes from 100 to 0. That was a biggest W for Trump.
And then the people want to cheerlead Trump. Oh, you're a traitor. You're for Elon. I'm like, no, idiots. Elon is a freaking genius. We need him in there, and it's popular, you dumbasses.
Yeah, I think people loved it. People like the idea of bringing that energy to the White House and actually disrupting. That's the whole point, is to drain the swamp, get rid of the deep state, actually shake things up. And you're right. I think that got too popular. Maybe too many people liked it. Or, Elon wasn't playing the patronage system. He was going in there and firing people that were protected or felt like they were protected. And so they lashed out and said, no, you don't understand. That's not how things work around here. In D.C., everybody needs to get their back scratched. Everybody needs to get paid or whatever. And now we are back to that kind of sclerotic tempo that we had in the first term. And I think it'll be met with similar results. It's like we've been talking about. Midterms are next year. We almost certainly lose the House. We might even lose it earlier than that, sadly, between now and New Year's Eve or in January. And then what do you do? Does it get better after we lose the House? I think it gets worse. So,
by the way, some listeners won't get that. if you have enough Republicans quit or leave like MTG, they're already on down to 1 or 2. They don't vote. They've already lost the House technically.
Exactly, because it's a 4-vote majority
Yeah,
as of
4 vote.
24. They've had a number of people withdraw. And this is typically when people announce their retirement, is during the holiday season on the off year. And so you're right. If they lose a few more seats, then they lose the majority and then they can't govern even earlier.
Yeah, see, then it's a lame duck presidency. So they better get their house in order right now because it's definitely looking like they're going to lose the midterms. And then what? They better get it together.
Even before 26. And, that's not really a glowing endorsement. This is supposed to be the golden age, and people are literally headed for the exits before the midterms even happen, before you even lose the election. So it's really
because
sad.
Trump literally slaps them around on TV. By the way, certain people have said, oh, MTG's not getting real threats. It's on record she has. I get threats. Guy tried to come and kill you earlier this year. And they're like, oh, she's making it up. No, I talked to her on the phone. I talked to her, and the police reports are there. They are under total assault right now. And she's like, I'm not running for president. I'm done. She's like, I'm a successful businesswoman. I did my tour. She's done. And people love MTG. I mean, that hurt Trump again. He probably lost 3-4 points doing that to her. Again, it's idiotic. And I'll say it, Trump, you're destroying yourself. We need you to succeed. God almighty.
It's really sad about Marjorie Greene. And you know what? People understand how she feels because we've all been on this train for 10 years. We've all been on this ride and we've all sacrificed a lot. The threats are real. The lawfare is real. Everything that has happened to you, to me, Marjorie, Tim Pool, all these people that have been under the gun. We've been fighting this battle for a very long time. And for Trump to get this opportunity, he's finally has like ultimate power, let's say, House, Senate, White House, popular vote, Supreme Court. He really has an opportunity to move, and he's just blowing it. And on top of it, then going in and attacking the people that helped propel him into the office for demanding the Epstein files, for not wanting regime change in Iran. The basic promises. And so you look at someone like Marjorie Greene, she goes, well, you know what, then I'm out. I don't need to have my kids threatened. I don't need to have my family threatened to die. If we're all in this battle for a leader who's not really leading from the front, she goes, I don't need this. I'm out. And you sort of understand it. Now,
yeah, most people could understand that. I mean, why are you going to go down with the ship? That concept just doesn't resonate with most people, unless you're an ideologue or some religious zealot. But if you're a pragmatic person and you see the writing on the wall, why would you fight a uphill battle for a group of people or individuals that don't respect you and don't value what you're sacrificed? You wouldn't. Most people wouldn't. So I mean, everybody can relate to what happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and we lost, a real advocate for the movement, and it's unfortunate.
I think that you really can't give up. I mean, and I think you and I are on the same page. You have to fight it through to the finish. I don't know that we'd be doing anything other than this. I was
about to say, that's the paradox. We talked about the phone a few days ago. This isn't perfect. It's got problems, but the alternative, what do the Democrats do if they get back in? I mean, we got to talk about that. So there's got to be a way there's got to be a way to slap Trump around. Here's the question. Can he be reproved? Can we turn this around?
Honest answer, no, I don't think so. I feel like this is deja vu all over again. And I remember covering the first term until 2020 and saying, here's how Trump can still do it. We still have 1 year to do Section 230 or close the border, whatever. I remember right up until the very end saying, here's how we could still get it together. And I think that it's him. Like, he is the problem. I think that he's not strategic. He doesn't have the follow through. His personality is toxic. I mean, we could cope and we can say, well, if we just push really hard on Twitter, if we just make some calls, yeah, I mean, we could put pressure on the administration. That's really all we can do. And we have to do what we can. But what are the realistic chances we get Trump to snap out of it? He's an 80-year-old man. I think when you're 80 years old, you're kind of out of reinvention. I don't see a
Yeah, you can't teach. You've heard the adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And that's what I was trying to point to with the whole boomer mentality. These people are set in their ways. They found a winning ticket early on in life, or they found a winning strategy rather early on in life, and they're going to double down on that. They're not going to try to reinvent the wheel. They're just going to go what worked with them before. And unfortunately, in your 70s and 80s, I don't care how cool you were at one point, you lose touch with the younger generation just by necessity. I mean, and the advisors around Trump, they're equal to his age or just a few years younger. They don't have their pulse on the or their finger on the pulse of the younger generation. And how are they going to sway these voters to come out in an off-year election in the midterms with this kind of messaging? I don't think they're going to. We're going to have to see how it plays out. But let's continue here with this conversation.
A lot of people don't tend to change. They certainly don't change their ways at 80 years old. And especially when they're the king of America and no one can tell them no. So sadly, I think we're kind of just stuck with this, and we have to just try to
use a full-bore war with Venezuela as a distraction?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's doing, which is just straight out of House of Cards. I mean, it's like that's the cynical play. So let's talk about
what a flailing Trump's going to do and the dangers of it.
So I think a flailing Trump, this is the war, and there's been some sources that have said that he will announce a war with Venezuela tonight. This is just a classic. This is what you do. You get in trouble. You start what is considered to be a short-term, easy intervention, like George Bush in Desert Storm or George Bush in Panama, for that matter. You get an easy win. It's a slam dunk, and that helps you in the midterm. So I think he does something like that. And afterward, I don't know where he goes from here. I think he's just getting more and more bitter and angry. I think they might try. I think what they should do is a big push on their domestic agenda. I think they should try to use budget reconciliation and get through.
That. The polls show great in what we want, even if he's doing domestic stuff, which he is, we need to hear about that more. Exactly.
Yes, and do what we elected you to do. Get a bill together that closes the border. It's law and order. We have to stop the crime in the cities, an Irina Zarutska law, something like that. Do something about election fraud, paper ballots. I don't know. Get a domestic agenda together. Use budget reconciliation to the extent that you can, or one of these other deadlines, defense authorization, whatever, and get some legislation passed. At the end of the day, Trump has only passed 5 bills in his first year, 5 bills in the whole Congress. So there's just not a lot of governing that's happening. There's not a lot of policy. So if I'm Trump, I would say put down the phone, stop posting about Somalians and about Rob Reiner and all this other stuff, and actually govern, pass some executive orders, pass some legislation, actually create some policy, and then, like you said, make the case, talk about it, sell it to the American people, but they just have nothing to run on. You're going into the midterms with literally nothing to run on. I can't think of a single tangible victory, a policy-related victory, arguably other than closing the border, but that should have been a given. I mean, that should have been done a long time ago. So if I'm Trump, that's what I'm going to do.
What do you make of Wiles trying to put him back on the campaign trail? I think that's a really bad idea. It'll exhaust him, divert him more. We want action. We want policy. We want indictments. Real indictments. That makes us win. What do you really think about Susie Wiles?
I never liked her. And I don't think that her head is in the same place as Trump. I know a lot of people say she's not really the problem. Well, she's a lobbyist. She's a lobbyist from Florida, from this Ballard firm. She's in bed with all these other governments, and Florida is a swamp. I mean, it's a literal and figurative swamp. And by the way, she brought all these people in. These are all Florida people. Mike Waltz, who was fired for being in bed with Israel, he's a Florida. Pam Bondi, exactly right. Rubio, who is pushing this war in Venezuela and then Cuba and then Nicaragua. These are all Florida people. Ratcliffe, I believe she brought in as well. I don't know that he's from Florida, but
just to be clear, you and I contextually, historically, under Thomas Jefferson gunboat diplomacy, get hemispheric power. Technically, Trump can do this, but they're going to set him up, a new Vietnam, the CIA, they've already tried it, and they're doing it as a diversion. So that's why I'm saying actually they shouldn't do it.
Well, and not only that, but it is so much more ambitious than people realize. This is like a reverse domino theory where Rubio is like this guy. This is his presidential campaign material. He wants to be the guy that toppled Venezuela and then toppled Cuba and then toppled Nicaragua. As a Cuban American, his dream is like
Mexico.
Right, the left-wing regime in Mexico, maybe even Lula while we're at in Brazil. His dream is to defeat communism and leftism in the Caribbean and Latin America.
And I would support that if it could be done, but I've looked at the angles and it's like you're talking about multiple Vietnams here. And then the Russians are sneaking around. They may, the word is just like Cuba in '61, have nukes there.
Well, it's a jungle. It's a jungle. Venezuela's 30 million people, many cities. It's a jungle. Mexico's 130 million people. The Mexican government doesn't even have control over the country. Cuba's got special forces. So I don't know that the American public is really ready to buy into this. I don't even know what you would call this. Like you said, it's multiple Vietnams in the Caribbean. It's a much greater commitment than people actually are thinking about. And I don't know who voted for that. I think the whole pitch was.
Yeah, so nobody voted for that, Nick. That's the true answer. Nobody wants foreign interventionism. I don't care how bad that dictator is. It is their problem that they created in that country. It is not our problem. And we don't believe in the neocons forever wars. We're not going to fight it. We don't want to pay for it with our tax dollars. And Trump's really shit in the bed on this one. And as far as Rubio, never was a fan of his. I mean, look, is he a talented politician? Sure. That's why I don't like him, okay? And to bring these guys in, and yeah, Florida, a lot of these Florida people aren't the best. They're just career politicians and lobbyists and lawyers, and we don't need more of that in our representative government or claiming to represent us in our government. Anyway, guys, there's a whole lot more. There's about an hour left of this interview, but I really wanted to focus on this point and what's going on with Trump and his term right now. But let me know your thoughts if you thought this was a good interaction between Alex and Nick. I'd love to see Nick be more on the show with Alex and vice versa. So I think that's happening. I've seen it happen the past couple months. Hopefully we get some good interviews moving forward with these two gentlemen. But until that time, I will see you guys on the next one. Hit a like button, hit a dislike button, leave a comment. I'll try to respond to them as soon as I see them. Until then, guys, have a great one.